views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Senator Alessandra Biaggi, New York State Senate District 34's inauguration.
Welcome. Well, now I can tell from that applause that you are all as excited to be here as I am.
At this time, please welcome our Mistress of Ceremonies, Margaret Groark, Board of Directors, Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition, and Political Science Professor at Manhattan College, to the stage.
This is a wonderful occasion. Aren't we all so excited to be here for the inauguration? For the inauguration of our new state senator, Alessandra Biaggi. If you're visiting from elsewhere, welcome to the 34th Senate District and to the beautiful Bronx. I'd like to welcome some special dignitaries who are with us today. The President of Lehman College, Jose Luis Cruz, U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, State Senator and Deputy Majority Conference Leader, Michael Gianaris, State Senator Gustavo Rivera, State Senator Jamal Bailey, State Senator Brian Benjamin, State Senator Jessica Ramos, State Senator John Liu, Assembly Member Michael Benedetto, State Senator Robert Jackson, and I think we have some other Assembly members, and oh no, I see Assembly Member Jeff Dinowitz is here. Anybody else that I missed? My own Assembly member I can't forget? And Congressman Engel is here joining us. Thank you very much. In the crowd, I'm trying to keep track of everybody. Yes, I introduced the conference leader, Michael Gianaris. Oh, hi! Wow. You know, you stand up here and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, a lot of other people have come. So we've been joined by the conference leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins. And now, on the New York City level, we're joined by Comptroller Scott Stringer and by the hard-workingest man in New York City who has two jobs, acting New York City public advocate and Councilman Corey Johnson. We have Councilman Rafael Salamanca, Councilmember Vanessa Gibson, Councilman Mark Jonai, our Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark is with us, District Leader Marjorie Velasquez, District Leader Amanda Farias, District Leader Randy Matos, District Leader Eric Dinowitz, the Honorable Jimmy Vaca, the Honorable Lynette Rosado. We have Bronx, our Bronx rep on the New York City Health and Hospitals Board, Robert Nolan. Oh, a few people I also forgot. Senator Liz Kruger is here with us. My own Bronx Borough President with whom I share a birthday, Ruben Diaz Jr. And Lisa Hofflick is here joining us on behalf of Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I fear that I may have forgotten some other important people who are here, and of course, yes, I did. Yes. Oh, I said your name before you came in. Senator Schumer, for whom I had the pleasure to work many years ago, is here with us today. Let's hear it for all our electeds. It's really great to be here together today. You know, as I was announced before, I'm a political science professor here in the Bronx, Manhattan College. I'm very proud to be a long-term member of the Northwest Bronx Community Clergy Coalition. And I was just one of several hundred volunteers who gave of their time and their money to help elect Alessandra. I'm sure many of us are here today. Give yourselves a cheer. We are so proud of Alessandra. She demonstrated great courage, real integrity, and a spirit for really hard work, running and winning this race. There's probably no one in this room who didn't hear her promise to knock on doors until her knuckles bled. I think the scars are beginning to heal. Her enthusiasm and optimism was infectious, and we all caught the bug. But now the real work begins. Today we send her off to Albany to represent us. And we know that it's going to take all of her courage, all her integrity, and a lot of very hard work to do what she needs to do on our behalf up there. As proud as we are to be New Yorkers, we know there are things about our government in Albany that need to change. We deserve a government that is more transparent, that adheres to higher ethical standards, that does more to defend the interests of its residents. Today we celebrate her inauguration, and we send her off with all our strength, all our prayers, and all our support to do good in Albany on our behalf. And now I'd like to introduce our gracious host, the president of Lehman College, Jose Luis Cruz.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Lehman College of the City University of New York. It is our privilege today on this beautiful Dia de Reyes, yes, to host the district inauguration ceremony of our newly elected state senator, Alessandra Biaggi. And it is a great honor to stand before so many illustrious national, state, and city elected officials and dedicated community members who do so much day in and day out to support the betterment of those of us who strive to build our lives here in the world's greatest city, the city of New York. At a time when the Electoral College entrusted the future of our country to an administration that routinely offends the tenets of social justice that we hold so dear, threatens the foundations of the democracy that we hope to advance, and attacks the sense of solidarity among diverse peoples that we so value, the occasion that together we here celebrate is a powerful reminder that better days are sure to come. Today, we gather to acknowledge that our great, if imperfect, experiment of government of the people, by the people, for the people, can overcome the most daunting of challenges when individuals, such as Alessandra Biaggi, leverage the strength of civic engagement and embrace the power of inclusive governance. Alessandra Biaggi, saw a disconnect between the aspirations of the people of the Bronx and Westchester and the representation being afforded to them. And she sprang into action, asking all of her now constituents to stand up for truth, justice, and a strong, healthy democracy. Her "We deserve better" message was heard, her calls for unity were heeded, and her campaign for a more prosperous, progressive, and inclusive great state of New York succeeded. And so it is that today we all celebrate the promise of a future built on equity-driven policies and practices that are not only fiscally responsible, but also morally compelling. As president of Lehman College, I can think of no better place for us to come together for this celebration. Why? Because our college's dedicated and determined community of teachers, scholars, learners, advocates, and activists knows firsthand the power of equity in policy and practice. Our brightest point of pride here at Lehman College is the fact that the Equality of Opportunity Project recently ranked us third in the nation for our role in moving large numbers of low-income students into the middle class and beyond in a borough that it had previously called among the worst counties in the United States in helping poor children up the income ladder. Indeed, I have in the past expressed my belief that no state is better positioned than the Empire State to model the equity-driven policies and practices needed to ensure that meaningful educational opportunities are made available to the millions of talented students who are coming of age in America today, but who, because of the color of their skin, the balance of their bank account, their place of origin, who they choose to love, or the tenets of their faith, have not yet been afforded the opportunity to meet their full potential. And knowing that Alessandra Biaggi will be representing our campus community in the New York State Senate only serves to boost my confidence that we will deliver on this promise. The fact that her mother and grandmother are both Lehman College alums makes it all the more special. So, on behalf of Lehman College of the City University of New York, as a symbol of admiration for her courage to lead and her determination to perfect our democratic institutions, I ask all of us here today to rise and give her a strong round of applause to our new State Senator, Alessandra Biaggi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great. Thank you so much, President Cruz, for your commitment to democratic values and your welcome and for hosting us here today for this special occasion. I also want to note that we've been joined by Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez and Council Member Helen Rosenthal. You all know that there is great cultural richness in the Bronx. We are a borough not only of parks and universities, but of music and dance and theater, and we're going to try to incorporate that into our program today. We're going to start with America the Beautiful, sung by Leslie Swanson, a soprano with the Bronx Opera, and she's going to be accompanied by Michael Spearman, who is the artistic director of the Bronx Opera.
Beautiful for spacious skies, for
plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Beautiful for people's dreams that see beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Many thanks to both of you for that beautiful interpretation of that song. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing our senior U.S. Senator, my former boss, Chuck Schumer.
Corey, is Corey picking my pocket again? Neatness has never been my strong suit. Well, it's great to be here for Alessandra and for all of you, because this was a wonderful, successful, and so important community effort. And today is a great day. It's a great day for a whole lot of reasons. I'm going to touch on four. First, and maybe foremost, it's a great day for Alessandra. She has worked so hard to achieve this wonderful, wonderful achievement. She went to public schools right nearby in Pelham, was the first woman in her family to graduate from law school, Fordham. And she didn't, once she graduated from Fordham, you know, she could have gone somewhere, made a lot of money, represented all these big, powerful people, but she cared about the community. And so she was involved in women's campaign issues in Yale, in the General Counsel's office, the State General Counsel's office. She helped thousands of families who suffered from Sandy, and then spent a whole lot of time making sure that a woman's agenda had a much stronger place in New York State. So she did a whole lot of things. And when they asked her to take on her predecessor, I won't mention any names, it took so much strength and guts and optimism and talent to win, and win she did, big time. Making us a lot of us happy for two reasons: who she is and that she's the state senator, and who she beat. I had to say it. So, today is a great day for Alessandra. It's a great day for her family, too. Her parents, Richard and Tony, raise your hands. There they are. Her fiance, Nathaniel. And her sister, Christina, and her uncle, Mario. Now, our families have to put up with a whole lot. It's not easy to be an elected official when you're a family member of an elected official. I always remember the time it was my daughter's 5th birthday. It was a cold March, late March night, and I got a call from a pastor of a local church. He said, "We have our Easter pageant tonight. 300 senior citizens are lined up to come in and see it, but we can't get in. Con Ed has locked the door because they mistakenly said we didn't pay our electricity bill. The Con Ed man is here. He's given us a lot of trouble. Can you come over?" Of course I did. Took me about 2 hours. I didn't do anything violent, I assure you, to persuade him to open it up, and he did. But I missed my daughter's birthday. She's now 29. She still reminds me of that. And our families always have our backs. A little while back, I was talking to a gentleman. I sort of didn't recognize him, and my wife is pulling on my suit jacket. And she said, and I said to her, "Dear, what are you doing? I'm talking to the man." She said, "Don't you remember him? He insulted you 15 years ago." So it's a great day for the family of Alessandra. It's also a great day for the members of this great 34th Senate District. Unlike some of those in Washington, we celebrate diversity. We believe the symbol of America should be the Statue of Liberty, not a big ugly wall. This 34th district represents that great diversity. People of every background, race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, color, everything. But what do we do in New York and in the Bronx? We come together. We help one another. We care about one another. We're proud of our own backgrounds and revel in other people's backgrounds as well. That's what we are. That's who we are. And this district represents that in so many different ways. Hardworking people, many who have struggled to get to the middle class, many who are struggling to get into the middle class. And this district needs the kind of representation that understands that. Someone who can work with everybody. Someone who is an outgoing, caring, giving person. Someone who is really smart, knows how to get things done, and someone who will persist until she achieves for her district. You have found that person in Alessandra Biaggi, so it's a great day for the 34th. And one final thing. It's a great day for these United States of America. You know, it's an amazing thing, with all the trouble we have today, that this democracy still moves forward, as this election showed, throughout America. And on cold November night, the citizens of this community and every community line up in quiet dignity and wait online to do their duty. They probably want to go home, maybe make dinner, sit in your favorite chair and watch your favorite TV show. You're tired, worked all day. But no, people wait, do their duty, and the next morning we abide by the result, no matter who wins. It's a beautiful thing about this country, one we must never let be taken from us. And it didn't have to be that way. The story I like to conclude with some of the elected officials here have heard. But I'm not speaking for them, I'm speaking for you. Benjamin Franklin was sitting in a coffee house. That was the 18th century version of Starbucks in Philadelphia, the day after they wrote the Constitution. And a leading lady of Philadelphia went over to Dr. Franklin, and she said, "Dr. Franklin, what have you gentlemen," they didn't have any women, "have created in there?" He said, "Madam, we have created a republic, if you can keep it." Now, what did he mean by that? The historians tell us he didn't think of all of the things we might have thought of, And certainly that republic, grand as it was, had a lot of problems. In fact, in 1789, you had to be a white, male, Protestant property owner to vote. Any white, male, Protestant property owners here? We have 3. They'd have the whole vote in this auditorium. But the two problems when Franklin said, if you can keep it, the two problems the founding fathers were worried about were these, not ones you might think of. First, they were worried, would people participate in this newfangled thing they had created, a democracy? They knew how busy people were with their lives. They understood human nature, our families, our jobs, the ups and downs of life that God visits on every one of us. Would people even participate? And the second thing they worried about is who would run for office. They were worried that the people who would put themselves forward would be people who wouldn't give a hoot about the community, that they'd put themselves first for money, for power, for ego. In those days, they called them scoundrels. We call them that today, and we have a lot of them in Washington. Well, look at this beautiful auditorium here at Lehman today. It is filled with people of every walk of life, every philosophy, every background, who have participated and are participating in their community and in our democracy. And look at who we have put in office. Not a scoundrel, not even someone, as they say in Throg's Neck, is Metz-a-Metz. We have put in one of our very best. So if Benjamin Franklin were looking down on this auditorium, he'd smile, because this is the democracy they wanted. So God bless Alessandra, God bless her family, God bless this great 34th district, and God bless the United States of America. We will fight for it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. That was just beautiful and everything that we need to hear today. You know, Chuck, we'd love to have your company for the rest of the afternoon, but if you need to go back to Washington and work out this whole, we understand. We got your back. Now I'm honored to introduce, as I said before, one of the hardworkingest guys in New York City today, Speaker of the New York City Council and Acting Public Advocate, Corey Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to keep this quick. I am so excited to be here, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and that is true for two main reasons. One, because my friend, Alessandra Biaggi, is a wonderful, wonderful person who is going to make an incredible state senator. And anyone who knows her can see that, and I am so excited to watch her hit the ground running. And the second is because this wasn't just any state senate race. This was a big one, folks. Alessandra wasn't supposed to win this race. She wasn't probably supposed to run this race. She wasn't supposed to beat the leader of the IDC. She wasn't supposed to become a living, breathing embodiment of the blue wave that finally crashed down on New York State and gave us a progressive state senate that we all know New York State deserves, with our now majority leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins. I was proud to have worked on Andrea's race. I took the train up every day from Grand Central for 2 months when she won her race to Yonkers. But guess what? That's exactly what Alessandra did. And I had a feeling. I kept telling Alessandra this. I just had this gut feeling because I had been out there knocking on those doors with her. I knew the Bronx was ready for Biaggi. I remember one time in the final days of the race when we were knocking on doors in Riverdale. We were in a high-rise building, and a teenager opened the door and reacted to seeing Alessandra the way that I would react if Lady Gaga knocked on my door. She was screaming, "Oh my God, I can't believe it is really you. My mom is actually door knocking for you in this building right now." Do you remember that? So this teenager, remember back when people said young people didn't pay attention to state and local elections? This teenage young woman, called her mom, and without telling her why, asked her to come back to the apartment immediately because there was an emergency. So the mom rushed back up to one of the top floors in the elevator, got off the elevator, the door opened, she looked down the hallway, and she almost passed out when she saw Alessandra Biaggi. And then we ended up door knocking the entire building together. And every single person that opened their door, literally every person that opened their door, said they were voting for Biaggi in just a few days. When something special is happening, you can kind of feel it. And that's how I felt all summer, knocking on doors in the Bronx with Alessandra, that something special was gonna happen, and it did. Words cannot express how excited I am for you, Alessandra, how excited I am for your constituents. They actually don't know how lucky they are. How excited I am for a progressive New York State Senate. And I am especially excited for people like that young woman who we met, people that you've already inspired before you even take in your oath of office. So congratulations, Alessandra, on what you've already accomplished. You're just getting started, and to me, you're already ahead. The people of your district are so lucky to have you, and Albany isn't going to know what hit them. And lastly, I want to thank her wonderful, wonderful family, her parents who I see here, and her sister, and her uncle, and her awesome fiance, Nat, who I love very much. Congratulations. Congratulations, Alessandra. I am so, so happy for you. I love you very much.
Thank you so much, Corey Johnson. Senator Biaggi's campaign was powered by an army of grassroots volunteers. And central to that army was a big crew of young, smart, dedicated interns. And I'd like to bring them up right now. Well, not all of them, but some of them here today. Please welcome to the stage Allison Barker, Jillian Harrison, Hannah McKay, Jordan Miller, Julia Plord, Max Rosenblum, Sophia Sabelia, Dario Sujika, Nora Tabaz, Elizabeth Walters, Caitlin Wong, Alyssa Wong. You're a raucous crowd, I have to say. And speaking on behalf of the intern crew, those who are here and those who couldn't join us, are Ava Knapp, Michael Randall, and Priya Varanasi.
My name is Michael Randall, and this past summer, I had the privilege of interning on Alessandra Biaggi's campaign for state senate. If you had asked me a year ago what I would be doing over the summer, I would have told you I'd be hanging by the beach with my friends. Little did I know I would become a part of a community that would immensely impact my life and my own journey in the world of political activism. Working alongside so many amazing people who all shared the same passion and drive for politics fulfilled me with a sense of hope that I never felt before. Despite the negativity and hate that plague so many communities today, this campaign reminded me of people like Alessandra who will work tirelessly to inspire real change and fight against such injustice. I would have never imagined that spending hours upon hours in a small basement with just a few tables and chairs would have such a significant impact on my life. The time I spent canvassing, phone banking, sending emails, and organizing did not feel like a job to me because I got the rare opportunity to help ignite change in a world that is constantly being divided. And that was truly amazing. Before getting involved in the Biaggi campaign, my friends and I created an organization called New Yorkers Rise Up with a mission to put an end to gun violence after the tragic Parkland shooting in February. It wasn't until interning on the campaign I saw firsthand the role our representatives play in shaping our communities and how essential it is to communicate with your legislators about what change you want to see, either as a voter, citizen, or concerned youth like myself. Speaking with other interns, voters, and Alessandra about their stances on gun control inspired me to strive to accomplish even more as a young activist. I am incredibly thankful to Alessandra and everyone else on the campaign for not only giving me an unforgettable summer, but teaching me more than I could ever imagine. I am so excited to see all the amazing things Senator Biaggi is going to accomplish in Albany, and I am so honored to have interned on her campaign. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ava Knapp, and I'd like to begin with an original poem. When the fire is in your belly, did you swallow it, or did it grow from a parasitic passion? When the fire is in your heart, you must ask yourself who put it there and what you are going to do with it. You must ask yourself, what are you going to do with this conflagration of a body? Each time we elect a new official, we witness for ourselves the nature of this country's political system. Each time someone new steps up to the plate, we see the fruits of the people's voice, and we are reminded of the power of our vote. Today, as we gather to inaugurate Senator Biaggi, we see yet again how the people, and by this I mean the people of this district, possess the strength to elect the leaders we need through their commitment to local politics. As a high school intern on Senator Biaggi's campaign, I discovered for myself just how important this collective voice was. Each day, when we called volunteers from Senator Biaggi's parents' basement, distributed lawn signs, and sprung palm cards on unsuspecting citizens everywhere from the Botanical Gardens to Jacobi Hospital, we learned that our campaign depended on our ability to connect with our own neighbors. We learned that in order to help propel Senator Biaggi toward victory, we needed to be genuine and we needed to be heartfelt. We needed to show the strangers we were talking to on street corners that they should cast their votes because we truly believed that Senator Biaggi is a candidate who fights for tenants' rights, fights for prison reform, and fights to ensure the protection of women's reproductive health. Now, as we ready ourselves for the future of New York State politics, we must reflect on the faith of the people of this district in taking the brave step of electing a true representative and prepare ourselves to take Albany by storm. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Priya Varanasi, and I'm going to try to speak on our collective intern experience a bit more. So the morning after Alessandra won the Democratic primary, I took to Instagram, my platform of choice, to put together a few memories of days that helped us get here, along with the following caption. Alessandra is not just brilliant. She has an honest and generous heart. She's not just the type of representative to advocate with clarity, vision, and passion. She's also the type of friend I trust to tell me when my bindi is off center. And if you know what that is, that's a huge deal. I chose to repeat those words today because I thought they captured the sentiment many of us interns hold about Alessandra and how she ran her campaign. She is clear with her ideas, has an emotional intelligence that makes those ideas accessible, and is profoundly down to earth. Throughout the campaign, she carried herself in a way that we found refreshing and, most importantly, energizing. It was this energy that kept us waking up before 6 a.m. in the summer, handing literature to commuters who wanted nothing to do with whatever we were selling, even if it was democracy, day after day. This energy kept us knocking doors until our phones died, and making phone calls well past the point of not being able to stand making calls anymore. We know that this type of energy isn't created easily, but Alessandra had a unique way of helping us create it. And she did this by simply being who she is. Be it in moments of cooking in her kitchen, frantically cleaning, or striking up meaningful conversations with Uber drivers, Alessandra created an atmosphere in which we as interns felt safe to push ourselves, and free to ask questions. In doing this, she made her campaign one of the best learning opportunities that many of us have ever been afforded. And during that time, she taught us and made us practice one of the most valuable lessons we'd learn, and that was to trust ourselves and to jump into our work with courage, as we got to see her do every day. Each of us had our own moment during the campaign, that aha moment in which we saw possibilities for ourselves in community engagement that we hadn't seen before. Alessandra, in being who she is, pushed us toward moments like that. That moment for me was early during my time at the campaign when I attended a march in Riverdale with Alessandra in protest of family separation by ICE. She was given a megaphone to speak to an adoring crowd, and I watched in awe, just feeling lucky to be a part of the activism standing next to her. The next thing I knew, she was handing me a megaphone saying, "Okay, Priya, go." This, I would later find, was classic, "Here, you have something to say too, say it, Alessandra," which actually speaks to her character beautifully, but in that moment I was shaking and confused, wondering what I could have gotten myself into. On the spot, I said something to a very generous crowd of people who were so generous because they trusted Alessandra and they saw her trust in me. And out of her trust in me, she gave me a moment for the sake of my growth. This was the moment when I understood what she's about. She understands risk and its intimate relationship to growth so well that she's hell-bent on giving such moments to people like us, her interns. By giving us the platform to use our voice, quite literally, and by reassuring us that yes, these types of moments are just as uncomfortable and nerve-wracking for her too, she let us see what we are capable of, and that we can occupy these political spaces with so much more ability than we ever thought we could. This is what makes people like her invaluable as public officials, and this is what was most valuable in my personal experience. By creating a place in politics where we felt safe to learn and grow, Alessandra showed us a place in politics for ourselves. And for that, I'm so grateful to you, Alessandra. Thank you for giving me the opportunity so many times to see what I'm capable of. It's meant the world. Thank you.
It now gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage New York City's Comptroller, Scott Stringer.
Well, thank you very much, and it's such an honor to be here today. I do want to recognize Nathaniel and Tony and Richard, the entire Biaggi family, and I want to first start out by saying to all those amazing interns, this was the experience of a lifetime, and you made a difference in changing the direction of this state, and you should be very proud of what you did. And I have to say, and many of you know this because all of you volunteered in this campaign, this was not easy. It looked good at the end, right? In fact, it looked so good at the end. I remember campaigning at the bagel place in the morning with the crew, and it was amazing. People were out there voting for her. It's the last weekend of the campaign, and I remember someone coming down the street in a Biaggi t-shirt, those blue t-shirts, and she wasn't coming to volunteer. She was just going to work. People were wearing it as an outfit, you see, you know. My wife said to me, I got to get one of those, online. So it was going well. Later in the night, I came back because my parents are constituents of Alessandra, and we were going to dinner. And I had to stop at the store before I was going to sit with them. And as I walked into the store, there were two people from the opposition who looked at me and then ran away. No, they were good. No, it's the Bronx. I get it. We're in a campaign. And I'm crossing the street. A woman pulls up, stops her car, gets out of the car, and says, I have to talk to you. I said, okay. Where do you stand? I stand in the middle of the street. Who are you supporting for state senate? Ma'am, I'm Biaggi. And she said, just checking, I'm a Biaggi volunteer. Have a good night, go. I go to the restaurant. There's a guy my age in that blue T-shirt that everyone wants. He's hunkered down on his canvas sheet. This is Saturday night. He looks up at me and goes, and keeps walking, doesn't even say hello. Walk into the restaurant, there's a Biaggi poster, take the kids for ice cream next door. My son says, Daddy, you're in a picture. I go, well, I'm controlled. I said, no, it's a Biaggi poster, So this campaign was because all of you gave of your time and effort for an extraordinary woman who I fundamentally believe has now, along with so many others in this country, represent the new generation of leadership in this country, and that's what she's about. And so it is the interns and the young people, but it's also the people who have been through the wars, the people whose shoulders we stand on, the women who for so long were told they couldn't get something done. I come from a political family with two strong women. One is Bella Abzug, and the other is my mother, who would run for city council. They both ran 40 years ago. At that time, it was not possible to raise money and to be taken seriously. It took so much work for them. And the night, Alessandra, that you came to my mother's house at Cape Park Street, and you had your house party, I remember as you were talking, my mother was sitting in a chair, 83 years old. She was listening intently. She had some tear in her eye. She wasn't crying, but she had a tear in her eye. She called me later that night and she said, it was all worth it. It was all worth the fight and the battle. It was all worth it because I saw this woman captivate people in our home that I didn't even know who they were. And it was about that struggle, and she's going to continue that struggle, Scott. I have never felt more proud to have an event like that in my house. I said, well, Mom, that was the second best event you ever had in your house. She said, I love you, son. So I just want to say to all of you that the anti-IDC campaign allowed us to bring Andrea Stewart Cousins into a place to change lives. And Alessandra's agenda, her pro-choice, her pro-kid, her pro-education agenda matches up very well with Jessica Ramos and Bob Jackson and all the leaders in the anti-crusade that everyone said they could not win. And every one of them did. And Alessandra, you were the one who took out the big one, and we will always be grateful to you. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott Stringer, for reminding us of how hard it was. And everyone here who thinks about how long you've tried to work towards something important, this race or other big issues, and if we keep at it, we can get these big things done. It's so good to be reminded of that. I don't think we've heard enough from Bronx Theater High School, huh? Yeah. So we want to invite up now Cyrus Clark and Jaden Nixon, to perform their original poem, New Beginnings. And I also want to recognize, as they get ready, Ariel Sussland, their teacher and coach, for all of the performances this afternoon.
Oh, Lord, you ready? New beginnings.
Work.
Hard.
Change.
Yourself.
Difference.
And all.
Joy.
Your life.
In life, change is a universal sign for evolution. Don't be afraid of it.
In life, you should always be happy at any moment.
In life, don't dwell in the past and don't stress over the future. Focus on the present. It's the only thing you always have in your possession.
In life, you should never think about the ending.
Life is a fantastic journey. That is why you must protect it. Every human, no matter what race, gender, or sexuality, has a significant role in the betterment of this world.
And in life, you should be the hardest worker in every room.
Your work.
Hard.
Change.
Yourself.
Difference.
And all.
Joy.
Your life.
Don't be afraid to switch a new path.
Don't fear the new outcome.
You never know
what can happen.
New time.
New place. New beginnings.
Wow, thank you. Words we should all heed. And now, I'd also like to thank again Ariel for so beautifully guiding all these young artists. She's sitting up here. And ladies and gentlemen, it gives me enormous pleasure now to introduce the chairman of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, representing Congressional District 16, U.S. Congressman Eliot Engel.
Thanks very much, but the most important thing about me is I'm a Lehman College grad. 2 degrees from this great institution, and it's good to see the president and everybody else here. It's always great to be at Lehman. Well, I just got back from Washington, where we installed Nancy Pelosi as the new Speaker of the House. Bob Dylan, many years ago, had a record called The Times They Are A-Changing, and let me tell you, you look at Alessandra, and the times they are a-changing. I first met her during one of the debates between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump out in Long Island. She came up to me and introduced herself and talked about what she planned to do. And you know that when you meet certain people, you walk away and you say, they're very impressive. That person's going to go somewhere. And you just know it when you speak with her, and you know it when she talks, when you know it when she does her action. And it doesn't surprise me that she has said the right things, done the right things, and believed the right things. I know we're going to hear great things from you, not only when you begin, but all through the years. And it really does us well to know that our communities in Westchester and the Bronx, which I represent, produce young people like you, who you just know are in this business for all the right reasons. You just know, Alessandra, you're not in this for personal aggrandizement. You're in it because you believe in change, you believe in this country, you believe in what needs to be done. So I just want to say that I go around bragging that Andrea Stewart-Cousins is my constituent, Carl Hastie is my constituent. Now I can say Alessandra Biaggi is my constituent. You know, the big blue wave is sweeping across the country. And while the president hunkers down and every day he's a bigger embarrassment than he was the day before, we need people, when those of us are fighting in Washington against the president's agenda and against the wall and against all kinds of other nonsense, we need people back home on the state level who are going to be watching our backs, covering our backs, and making sure that progressive legislation comes out of Albany. I spent 12 years in Albany, and I know it can be very good and it can be very bad, but we're counting on you. And I want to tell you, as my state senator, if you're not going to do what you should be doing, you'll hear from me, but I know that won't be a problem, because you'll hear from me, because I will be so proud of all the hard work that you're doing.
So I know you're going to have my back, and I'm going to have yours, but more importantly, we're going to have the country back. We're going to take back this country from a president of the United States who is an embarrassment with everything he says and does. So thanks for being involved. Thanks for being you. Congratulations to the Biaggi family. And we have a real great one now representing us in Albany. I stayed in Albany for 12 years in the Assembly. It gets very cold. I hope your family has bought you sufficient sweaters and underwear and, all that kinds of things. Exit 23 on the thruway, we all remember that. Keep making us proud. I know you will, and I'm proud to call you my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Engel, for your tireless service. We wanted an exciting new state senator in our district, but we were also very aware that changing our state senator would help us have new leadership in the state Senate as a whole. So it gives me great pleasure and excitement right now to introduce to the stage the Deputy Majority Conference Leader in the U.S. State Senate, Senator Michael Giannaris.
Not the U.S. Senate, New York Senate, but okay. Good afternoon. I think there's some members of the resistance in here today. Am I right about that? All right. Thank you for all you have done. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be here today. Really, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be here today to celebrate this victory with all of you and to thank you for the great work that you have done. Senator Schumer mentioned a number of people for whom this is a great day. And there's one group that he left out, and that is that this is a great day for the Senate Democratic Conference in New York State. We had a lot of victories this year, a lot of great success, and I think we have, 15 new members, Leader. And I dare say they were all important, but no one was more important than Alessandra's victory that you brought us here today. Because there is no victory that will allow us to head to the majority as united as we're going to be, to put the past divisions behind us and give us the opportunity to be the truly progressive body we are supposed to be here in this state. And so while I'm certainly here to congratulate Alessandra and the entire family and Nathaniel, I am also here to say thank you for what you have done for us, for this state, because there was a lot of shoe leather, a lot of worn out shoes, a lot of bruised knuckles from knocking on those doors, and we cannot thank you enough for what you have done for all of us. Elliot Engel mentioned that when he first met Alessandra, he thought to himself, there's someone who's going places. Well, the volunteers in this effort can tell a similar story, because he leaned over to me after the interns were up here and he said about Priya, he said the same exact thing. He said, she's going to go places someday. She was very good. And so in a few moments, Alessandra will get up here and raise her hand and take the oath of office. But in 3 days' time, in fact, almost exactly 3 days from now, there will be another woman who is going to raise her hand and take an oath as the first ever female leader in the history of New York State. Yes. Yes. All right.
All right.
I can't wait for Wednesday. This is going to be great.
It's going to be fun. You all got to come.
Yes. So I know Alessandra will be there. All the other senators will be there. I'm sure her family will be there Wednesday. But for the rest of you, get it on TV wherever you can. It's going to be a day for the history books in New York State. We have someone here who has persevered, who has put up with a lot, who has put up with the haters, with the dividers, with the people who told her she can't make it because she's black, with the people who told her she can't make it because she's a woman, with the people who told her she can't make it because her conference is split into pieces. and with the people that worked hard to keep her from ascending. And so Wednesday, we're finally going to put that all to rest. It could not have happened without the victory that you brought us with Alessandra Biaggi. And with that, Rita, you are going to see some amazing things happen. And I'll leave you with this because Chuck Schumer also mentioned how great it is in democracy. People wait online to vote, but it shouldn't be that way. So how about we bring you some early voting pretty early in this session, huh? That's just a tease. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
You are going to see things in this state that you have not seen before, and it's all because of the great work that all of you have done and the incredible leadership of Andrea Stewart Cousins.
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Are we ready to make some history? Are we ready to change New York? All right, I know. I am so excited. And I can't thank, first of all, I'm happy to be a Lehman. And thank you, Mr. President, for opening the doors. I did my teaching credentials here, and it's just been such an incredible place. And you know, these stories of the success that come out of Lehman and you know, just the changing of life that happens here is something to be applauded. So thank you so very, very much. And you heard from so many, I mean, Senator Schumer fighting that good fight for us in D.C. along with Congressman Engel. Senator Schumer and I hope that we would become majority leaders together. So we did it here on the state level, but we are going to do it on the congressional level, right? We are going to do it. This blue wave is really going to wash over the country. We started right here, and by the way, you know that our congressman is now the chairman of Foreign Affairs. Right? Yeah, they explained that in the Senate, I guess, they have relations, and in the House, they have affairs. So that's what I was told. So we have a brand new chairman here who's going to represent us so very, very well. I am happy to be in the Bronx. I was with the borough president, Ruben Diaz, last night at the, thank you, borough president, for always being a magnificent host in this wonderful borough that is just, again, you know, breaking all incredible records. You have partners in the state. We are happy to be with you. I was there in the Bronx for the swearing in of Luis Sepulveda. And give him a hand. You know, I got an incredible life here because, as Senator Gianaris said, we have 15 new members, and I'm running up and down the state. And I want to thank, while I'm talking about members, thank Senator Gianaris in particular. You know, everybody, you know, has something to say, and you know, people think this, but Senator Gianaris has been fighting to reclaim the Senate in the hands of to the Democratic majority for decades. I mean, it has been an incredible, relentless battle, and we keep getting there, and then people would tell us, as he said, we can't get there. And when Senator Gianaris left the assembly, the safe assembly, to come to the Senate, that has been his singular focus. Senator Gianaris, you've been a great deputy, you've been a great friend, you've been a great leader, and we are going to make New York the progressive beacon together. Thank you so very, very much. So guess what? Alessandra has some new colleagues here, and I know that their names were called. I just need them to stand up so I could see all of, and so you could see all of Alessandra's colleagues. We have Senator Robert Jackson. We'll be swearing him in next week. And Senator Jamal Bailey. I know Senator Gustavo Rivera is here. I know Senator Jessica Ramos. Any other senators that I'm missing besides Senator Gianaris, you know? Any others? Okay, that's right. Senator Lieu, his swearing in is happening now as well. People are trying to go to all of them. And Senator Peter Harcum is being sworn in at this point as well. What you have done, because we're going to get right back down to you. What you have done is so visible in the young people who have stood here today, strengthened, empowered, emboldened by a young woman who dared to defy the odds. Somebody who a seed was planted and decided to take that seed and just water it, nurture it, tend to it. And as that plant grew and the arms outreached, she took every single body within her reach and made them a part of her dream. She got young and old and everybody who understood that democracy belongs to us, that public service is a calling, and that you can dare to have aspirations, you can dare to hope, you can dare to dream, you can dare to change things, you can dare to put your money where your mouth is, you can dare to have a vision that people tell you that you are foolish to hold on to. Alessandra, with her political pedigree, with her law credentials, with her intelligence, with all that she had in the support of her family, her friends, could do anything. She could be anyone. She had the world at her feet in many ways. But she was called to do this at this moment because she believed that things not could be better, that things had to be better. And when she looked around, she knew that she was that one. When I met her, I too was impressed. But I'll be honest, I didn't think she had a chance. I had a race like that too. I did. And what people don't realize is that when you have a race where every single talking head and pundit, all the smart money, everybody who's supposed to know these things have already decided that you probably can't win, and that it may even be dangerous for you to even begin to start shaking those bushes, and you do it anyway, and you get people who aren't even thinking about all of that, but are only thinking about you and what you promised you could bring to improve their lives. And every door knock, and every personal contact, and every time she reached out, she lit that spark. and that spark has spread like wildfire. And the results of that spark is what's happening today. You want progressive New York? You gotta send progressive people. You want people who could change the world? You gotta send people who change the world. You want people who stand up for your rights? You gotta change and send people who stand up for your rights. Women need rights? We need to send us those people. Criminal justice reform? We need to send those people. Environmental reform? We need to send those people. Educational reform? We need to send those people. We can't keep talking. We gotta send them. You sent us Alessandra. We will deliver for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alessandra, come on, let's go. Okay. You raise your right hand. Repeat after me.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Alessandra Biaggi,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the State of New York,
to uphold the Constitution of the State of New York,
and to execute my duties as New York State Senator of the 34th District
and to execute my duties as New York State Senator of the 34th State Senate District
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Senator Biaggi!
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. My goodness. I am humbled in a way that I have never been humbled before and have more gratitude than I probably have time here today to express to all of you. But thank you, Madam Leader. I am so honored beyond belief to have you have just sworn me in to the New York State Senate. I will do everything in my body and power to make sure that you never leave that room. And to make it very quick, because I could spend, of course, all day just thanking every single elected official that's here. Thank you to Corey Johnson, the Speaker of the City Council, to Scott Stringer, our comptroller, to Congressman Engel, to Senator Gianaris, to Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. Who else did I miss? Let's see. To Chuck Schumer, on behalf of Senator Gillibrand, Lisa Hofflich, and all of my future colleagues, I am incredibly excited to be able to be working with you at this moment in time. To all of the students, I'm going to get to that, but I really have to say, you have moved me here today in a way that I never thought that I could be moved before. You know, sometimes along the way, you kind of hit these little dips, right? And you kind of get downtrodden. And today, my spirit has just been lifted up in an incredible way because of all of you. To the performers, to my interns, you're all amazing. And thank you to my family over here in this corner, without whom I would not be here today, quite literally, and also who handed over my house, their house, my house, their house. And I just want to share one quick anecdote. It got so insane, as you can imagine, because we didn't have money really to get an office. And so one day my dad was coming home from work and one of my interns was outside and said to him, "Can I help you? Are you here to volunteer?" And he said, "I live here." And so that was the end of that, and then we got an office. Thank you. To my fiance, to my sister, to my uncle, to everyone who's here, thank you so much. Really, yes. And of course, to the president of Lehman College, thank you for opening your doors. If my grandmother Marie were alive today, she would be probably in the back with the cowbell, because that's what she did to embarrass everyone in the family when they had a success.
Thank you very much. So as we began preparing for this very exciting day, we wanted this moment to embody several important themes of progress that we set out to accomplish for this district, District 34. So let's begin. With a focus on the power of community organizing, on young people, and on the future. It is because of hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of my volunteers from around this district and from many politically courageous organizations. I could spend all day also acknowledging them, from Indivisible to every other grassroots organization, anti-IDC effort, no IDCNY, all of you. It's because of all of you that I am standing here today. I have such an immense gratitude for all of you. Today, we set out to highlight the many young volunteers who played such a vital role in this journey. Priya and Ava and Michael, thank you all for what you have done and for speaking so fantastically on behalf of all of the young people in District 34 and quite frankly across the state. Thank you. And of course, to the students from the Bronx Theater High School, their amazing performance just gave me chills, and I'm honored that you chose to be here today with us. Thank you. We in this district, in this state, and at this moment as a country, desperately need the energy and the enthusiasm of young people to accomplish all of the work that's ahead of us. Part of that work is solving low participation of youth in elections. And that is something that we can change if we're, of course, determined to change it. And that means, of course, moving New York from among the last to among the first in having laws that make voting easy and increasing voter turnout. We must and we will pass the list of voting reforms. But beyond that, I am personally pledging today, before all of you who are here and who are watching and who are listening, to visit every single high school in the 34th State Senate District to talk to students, especially to seniors who are or about to be 18 years of age, about the importance of voting, the importance of using their voice, the importance of shaping their community and their state. I want every single one of them to know how government works and how critical their role in democracy is. And most importantly, I am committing, I hope I don't regret this, to registering all of them to vote. I will never regret it. It is now, and it always has been, and I know I don't have to remind anybody in this room, it is literally up to us to prove to them the power of their voice. You all are the political currency of our time as long as you seize your power and you speak. Not big donors, not special interests, you. We are here in this beautiful hall at this important Bronx educational institution, which adds so much to today's event. So thank you again to Lehman College and to President Jose Luis Cruz for your very kind words and your graciousness for letting us be here today. I wanted to be here because excellent education is also a critical part of a dynamic community, and because our CUNY and our SUNY public colleges, and Lehman in particular, play such an important role in that. But also because I have a family connection to Lehman. Both my mother, Tony, who is sitting right over here, and my grandmother, Marie, graduated from Lehman College. My grandmother was actually 68 years old when she graduated, and I believe her degree was in gerontology or geriatric health. But what that message that's sent to us was that it is literally never too late and that anything is possible, and perhaps that's probably where I got that little spark from. People always like to talk about my grandfather, Mario, but today I want to focus on my grandmother, Marie, because she was a community organizer. She knew that no real progress was possible without dedication to your community. That I am here today, that I am who I am, I owe in great part to Marie, to my mother, to my grandmother Rose, and to all of the women and the men in my family who were the real builders of my foundation. And just in case it is not obvious, that's another theme for today, actually. The importance of increasing powerful women and women in every part of our society, especially our government. I would like to also say a few words about how we, and I use that word intentionally, we arrived here today. Progress does not just come from what we learn, it comes from what we are able to unlearn. The ideas of change that fueled my campaign and the people who powered it represented a major shift away from politics as usual. Most people thought that it could not be done. Beat a longtime incumbent, one of the most powerful men in Albany, I was told that I was crazy. But it took an entire community to unlearn the old ways of being to make this happen today. It took an entire community rediscovering their power and their voice. Typically, people will tell you that to run for office, you need to raise lots of money and you need to pay your dues, get in line is what you often hear. But the truth is, so many life paths have the possibility of leading to where I am standing here today. And my choices are just one example of that. But to disrupt the status quo, you must be willing to take the first steps into the unknown, despite the fear, despite the doubt. And in case you were wondering, we started with very little. A few people around my grandmother Marie's dining room table, a belief that change was needed, determination that we would not settle for falling short. And there was really, and is really, nothing more powerful than a few determined people with an idea whose time has come. A lot of people tried to tell us no, that it was not the time, that it was not my turn. So often, people who stand up to make change, women who want to make change, people of color who want to make change are told no, not now, later, or soon. But it is essential to push every limit, to not accept no, to persevere to a yes. We do not have time for later or for soon. This is it now. And to be clear, we will not always win the first time. Sometimes we will have to keep pushing, keep organizing, keep building to elect the right person or to pass the right bill. We have to have patience while our relentlessness works. We have to have a lot of endurance, believe me. That is the way that great change happens. And sometimes doing the hard work will make us uncomfortable. Often, it will make others uncomfortable. People being uncomfortable is part of the work. This is the only way to make change that means anything. I spent months knocking on your doors, and what I learned is that what transforms people's lives in our communities is not fear, it is not intimidation, it is not political angling, it is love. It is about fighting cynicism with eternal, unending, deep optimism. It's about knowing that things can be better and acting on that conviction. It's no surprise that we hear this every single day, but we all know that we need to counter what's going on at the highest levels of our government with a different kind of politics, a new kind, a transformational politics. It's an earnest politics that takes the powers vested in our elected officials and leaders and uses them to lift up and energize our communities. A politics that has its primary aim raising us all up to meet our potential. It's a politics, dare I say it, of love. And I use that word very thoughtfully. I do not mean something light or silly. I mean a politics of depth, of strength, a politics that bonds people together and solves problems and makes us better. On election day in the Bronx, which was a very fun day, I'm talking about the primary, It was not just a well-planned field program or fired-up volunteers that won the day, although every single one of you, of course, made this happen. It was what we brought, and that was a storm of love and positivity, a storm that people in the community longed for. This victory was about seizing a moment. It was about washing away a power structure that chose to use cynicism and backroom deals to self-serving ends. This victory, yes, wash it away, please. This victory had consequences. I believe gone are the days of 4 men in a room making decisions about our bodies and our communities without our voices. There is now a woman in that room, our leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, a powerful woman. Who my opponent kept out of that room, but who I intend to keep there as long as possible. This victory was also about sending a message. It is a message to be heard across the state of New York and to every corner of our government. The time for cynical and dismissive leadership is over. The time for intimidation and arm twisting as the main way things are done is over. And those who rely on these methods, instead of good faith transparency, will find that their time as public servants may come to an end very soon. Corruption depends on keeping people in the dark. So it is our job to shine a very bright light and give people the power to control their government, to make sure that government of, by, and for the people is a reality in New York, not a hollow concept from a history book. The issues that face our district are incredibly important, and you've all heard them across the entire campaign trail, whether it's affordable housing or fully funding our public school education or access to healthcare or jobs or protecting our environment, immigrants' rights, women's rights, and the list goes on. Most fundamentally, of course, also protecting our democracy so that we have the opportunity to fight for and to achieve these things for our community for many, many years to come. It took all of us working together to get here today, so it is appropriate to take a day to honor that accomplishment. Thank you. But as you all know, this is just the beginning. Now that work continues in earnest, and it will still need all of us, and I mean all of us. I wish I could personally acknowledge every single organization and volunteer who helped me to win, but we are not done working together. We are building a deep partnership to keep working on all of the issues that brought us together in the first place. I will need all of your help, continuing and active support to accomplish all of the goals that we set out on this campaign and that we want this district to actually have and represent. And yes, I will also need you to hold me accountable. We may not always agree on everything. In fact, we may agree on things very seldom times, but we'll see. And while I'm confident that our new majority will get a lot done, progress still takes time. So I'm sure at some points I will also need your patience too. But let's commit to this new path together. Let's commit to working in this new way, a way of respect, of inclusion, of listening, of caring, a way that puts people and community first. I hope that we are never too scared to face the truth. I hope we are willing to let it teach us, to motivate us, to inspire us, to heal us, and maybe, just maybe, free us as well. Thank you so much for trusting me with this district. Thank you so much for all of your hard work that made this possible. One more quick thing. Before we end, I want to leave you with a few words from a poem by Cleo Wade, and I really do hope that these words stay with you long after we've been here together, and that they will remind you that darkness only spreads when we stay silent, and encourage you to use your voice to shine light wherever it is needed. The time is always right to begin. The time is always right to embrace your path, to accept what you had to walk through yesterday and what you must step away from now as you move toward tomorrow. The time is always right to pound your chest and let them know that you are here, to let them know that they will hear you, to let them know that they will see you. The time is always right to end your silence, to look at the person next to you and tell them to end their silence too. The time is always right to reclaim your narrative, to tell your story, to live with wild freedom in a place that asks you only to control not only the way you see the world, but the way you see yourself. Now is the time, beloved. Now is the time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We did it! Thank you.
Wow, as someone said earlier, I don't think that Albany knows what they have coming. And I was reminded of something a friend of mine often says, justice is what love looks like in public. We want to do one more thing to close this momentous occasion. If you could all settle for a minute. We want to sing together. We've invited to close out this momentous day, Riverdale Kingsbridge favorites and longtime residents of the Bronx, Richard and Suzanne Hochstein, partners in music and partners in life, to lead us all in song. Are you ready? You gonna sing with me? Yes? Who's gonna sing? Here they are. Richard and Suzanne Hochstein.
As they Is it on? There we go. All right, well, congratulations to Senator Biaggi. What a fantastic day. And I heard she had one special request to end this fantastic event with a rousing version of this song. So we brought the rouse, and we know that you know this song, so you will do your bit too. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and you know this part, come on. This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the diamond deserts of a sparkling deserts. Voice was sounding. This land was made for you and I know we know this next part. This land is my land, from California to the New from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Was a great high wall there that tried to stop me? Was a great big sign said, this is private property? But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Big finish, come on. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Congratulations, Senator Biaggi.
Questa